Good morning, everyone. We are very pleased to welcome you today for the announcement of our new strategic plan. This event is broadcast live and will be available on replay on our website. The CEO's presentation and the press release are now available on our website in the finance sections. As usual, I would like to point out the disclaimer on slide 2 regarding the information contained within this document and in particular about forward-looking statements. And I invite all participants to read this. First, our Chairman and CEO, Mr. Ghosn, will share his vision for the 6 years to come and highlight the key drivers of this new strategic plan. Second, we will go deeper into the key levers of this plan in the presentation of Mr. Bolloré, our CCO, Mr. Müller, our CPO, Mr. Koskas, Sales and Marketing EVP. Then specific focuses will be made. We'll start with the regions, as you will hear from Mr. Kugler, EVP Europe, and Mr. Levert, SVP Eurasia. Then the focus will be made on business units with Mr. Gupta, Alliances VP Light Commercial Vehicles, Mr. Normand, EVP Electric Vehicles, and Mr. Defichy, RCI CEO. Last but not least, Mrs. Delbos, EVP Finance, will go over the financials. The slide of the second part will be handed out and added to our website when the session starts. Mr. Ghosn will conclude these sessions, which will last approximately 2 hours, which will be followed by a short break before Q&A sessions. Then analysts will have this break, and as journalists are expected in the press room. I will now leave the floor to Mr. Ghosn.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are announcing the new midterm plan of Groupe Renault Drive the Future. This plan will frame our strategy for 6 years, ending in 2022. We are launching this plan from a solid position. Renault made a significant progress during its last midterm plan, Drive the Change, exceeding all its commitments. Our company has changed in many ways. We are today one of the fastest growing car companies in the world. We have reached the highest profitability and attained the strongest balance sheet of our long history. And after 2 consecutive years of record results, we are set to break another record in 2017. Before presenting our strategy, it's important to look at the foundations on which we are building this new plan. Our last midterm plan was about recovery. First, we established a sustained fiscal discipline resulting in a recurrent positive free cash flow. We generated cumulative free cash flow of 5.7 billion euros over the past 6 years. Second, we returned the group to growth. From 2001 to 2010, our revenues increased 7%. From 2011 to 2016, our revenues grew by 30%. Finally, we rebuilt the group's operational profitability. Our operating profit margin rose from 1.1 billion euro in 2010, or 2.8% of revenues, to more than 3.3 billion euro in 2016, or 6.4% of revenue. We achieved our Drive the Change objective a year in advance, and we made it happen while laying the foundations to sustain both our growth and profit for the years to come. Over the past 6 years, we benefited obviously from synergies developed through our global alliance with Nissan. The alliance, which has now expanded to include Mitsubishi Motors, generated 5 billion euro of synergies in 2016, and as we announced last month, we are targeting more than 10 billion euro of synergies by the end of 2022 as our companies work more closely together. The dual benefits of financial discipline and alliance synergies allowed us to address major internal challenges. We renewed our product range, extended our geographical reach. Back in 2010, our lineup had no electric vehicles and included 1 SUV. 6 years later, we became Europe's leader in zero-emission vehicles with 4 pure electric models, and we now offer 5 SUVs. As we extended and enriched our product line up, we also improved our regional mix. In every region, we strengthened our presence. We developed and launched a wide portfolio of new technologies. Throughout this process, we kept our costs under control. Monozukuri activities accounted for 3.2 billion euro of cost savings in 6 years. These competitive advantages made us more resilient, better balanced. Relying on a stronger, sounder foundation, Renault is now a healthy, profitable, global company looking confidently to the future. Our vision has not changed. It is to provide sustainable mobility for all today and tomorrow. This long-standing vision is more relevant than ever given technological disruptions, given society's expectations, including the regulatory changes that we are and will be facing. We will continue to lead the industry when it comes to mass-market electric vehicles alongside our partners at Nissan and Mitsubishi. We will continue to offer competitive, affordable vehicles suited to the needs of every market around the world. We will offer new mobility solutions addressing customers' expectations and societal changes from rural to urban areas for developed and emerging countries. Drive the Future is about building up profitable, sustainable, worldwide growth that is geographically well distributed and balanced between the different market segments. Our plan is built over 6 years, from 2017 to 2022, with long-term strategic prospects and at the same time measurable objectives deriving from a very clear set of priorities. The figures we will present to you today are robust. We have adopted a relatively conservative set of assumptions in order to build our plan. As I announced back in February, we aim to exceed 70 billion euros in revenues and more than 7% operating profit margin by the end of the plan. That's 50% more profit than we made in 2016. Our 5% profit target for Drive the Change becomes the floor, obviously assuming no recognized exceptional adverse circumstances, and this is the floor on which we will execute Drive the Future. We'll also generate positive free cash flow every year during the plan, which is essential to ensure both our capacity to invest and our ability to pay a regular competitive dividend to our shareholders. It's a plan of growth. Our projected global sales will increase by 40% to exceed 5 million cars by the end of the plan. We will grow worldwide. Over the next 6 years, our forecasted sales outside Europe will double in volume and triple contribution to profit, accounting for 50% of our total group profit, up from 25% today. It is a challenging and exciting road ahead. The auto industry, as you know, will go through more changes in the next 10 years than it has ever seen in the past. With the new set of autonomous drive, connected technologies, mobility services, the way we use our car is and will be changing. Cars are becoming more than just a way to get from one place to another. They are becoming an interactive, personalized space that connects to people and objects. Customers' expectations are also changing. They want a more relaxing, safer drive. They want more connected, more productive time spent while traveling. They want to choose between driving their car and being driven by their car. In big cities, they want to choose between owning, sharing, or ride-hailing a car, while in emerging markets, car ownership and demand for affordable individual mobilities is still the next big thing. On top of this, governments are issuing stricter and more complex regulations promoting de facto zero-emission mobility. A technology revolution has begun, and it is disrupting the auto industry. At Renault, we see this as a significant opportunity to create more sources for growth and profit. For this, we will leverage 5 key assets. First asset, obviously, is the alliance. Given the scope of investment needed to face our industry challenges, being profitable is not enough. One needs scale, which we have, through the global alliance with Nissan and Mitsubishi. We have become the world's #1 automotive group by unit sales. In the first half of 2017, total volumes exceeded 5,260,000 units. Obviously, size is not and has never been for us an end by itself, but our increasing global presence creates additional opportunities of synergies, giving Groupe Renault a significant competitive advantage to most automotive groups. The alliance will support Renault performance. First, through alliance synergies and Renault financial discipline, we plan to save €1 billion more than in the past 6 years, taking our Monozukuri savings from €3.2 billion to €4.2 billion. These €4.2 billion of Monozukuri savings are taking in consideration a €400 million increase in research and development spending over the first half of the plan, which is 17-18 mostly, and in 2019 also. Second, additional synergies and cost savings will come from our converged engineering functions. Over 2 million vehicles were produced on Alliance Common Platform in 2016. By the end of the plan, over 80% of all Renault vehicles will be based on common platforms, up from a little bit more than 20% in 2016. We are already sharing platform for our A segment small vehicles, for our CD segment mid-size vehicle. By the end of the plan, we will have 4 operating platforms covering all of our major segments. Thierry Bolloré, Renault's CCO, will enter into more specific on our industrial competitiveness. Finally, the scale of the alliance allows us to invest in the full spectrum of autonomous, electric, connected car technology, mobility services, without any shortcut or reduction on the other necessary investments. For Groupe Renault, we will be investing during this period 18 billion euros in research and development. Given the alliance mindset to develop once and share, each euro we spend in research and development is amplified through the alliance. So the 18 billion euro that we will invest over the next 6 years will give us access to a potential array of technologies and product worth 50 billion euro. Leveraging the alliance will allow us to position ourselves as a major player in tomorrow's mobility. We will invest in developing the right technology bricks. As for connectivity, 100% of our vehicles in key markets will be connected by 2022, up from 30% in 2016. On top of addressing customers' expectation, we'll take advantage of a new common cloud platform. The common cloud platform enables us to integrate the data management of future, current, and past connected vehicle. By using the cloud, we will improve our logistics management and reduce our warranty costs. We'll provide new services to the current generation of vehicle, as well as upgrading many of our 70 million Alliance vehicles already on the road. As for autonomous vehicles, we will offer level 2 autonomous drive system on Renault B segment vehicles in 2019. This capability will later be made available on more vehicles. And by 2022, we will launch 15 Renault models with different levels of autonomous drive capabilities, from level 2 to level 4, which, as you know, is an eyes-off, hands-off autonomous drive car. In new mobility services, we plan to launch our ride-hailing robo-taxi commercial services by the end of the plan, in cooperation, obviously, with our partners in the alliance. We will develop robo-vehicles which we will operate, enabling us to sell on-demand mobility services. To do so, we are recruiting critical skills and acquiring technological bricks through partnerships. To achieve our growth and profit objectives, we rely on Groupe Renault well-acknowledged specific assets. Electric vehicles lineup, our global access range, our light commercial vehicle range, and RCI bank and services. The line being our first asset, our second asset is our electric range. Pioneers yesterday, we are worldwide leaders today, with more than 500,000 cars sold so far between Renault, Nissan, and Mitsubishi. Our vision is obviously now a profitable core business. We started investing in electric vehicle almost a decade ago. At the time, the heavy investments and the development costs impacted the profit margin. Now we are past this stage, and EV is turning into a significant contributor to our performance when other automakers are just starting the journey. We intend to remain the #1 provider of affordable mass market electric vehicles. By the end of the plan, we will have 8 pure electric vehicles accounting for 20% of our lineup offer. We'll also improve our competitiveness by leveraging on the alliance scale with the launch of a new common EV platform. 100% of e-components, including powertrains, will be shared within the alliance. These synergies will contribute to reducing EV motor and batteries costs over the course of the plan. Among electrified vehicles, I'm not talking here about pure electric, I'm talking about electrified vehicles, leveraging the alliance and particularly Mitsubishi's specific expertise when it comes to plug-in hybrid will also be present in the plug-in hybrid market. Altogether, our electrified offer will account for 50% of our lineup. 8 cars pure electric, 12 electrified, total of 20 on a lineup of 39. This is more than 50% of our product offer. Gilles Normand, head of the EV business units, will give you more information regarding EV. Our third asset is our expertise in making popular, affordable cars through deep localization of engineering, purchasing, and manufacturing, design to cost, in cost-competitive countries. We call it our global access range. We've just crossed a threshold and sold our 10 millionth global access car in 13 years. Building on the success of our global access range in emerging markets, we plan to fully renew our lineup, and we aim to sell 2 million units per year by the end of the plan. That's 750,000 units more than we sold in 2016. We obviously will expand the Kwid family with 2 new models covering 2 new segments, designed first for the Indian market and then expanded from there. Stéphane Muller, Renault's Chief Performance Officer, will further develop our strategy regarding global access and emerging markets. Our fourth asset and another key levers of our offensive on the global market is our light commercial vehicles range. We have started expanding our lineup to pickup trucks with the launch of Duster Oroch and Renault Alaskan in Latin America, leveraging on alliance platforms. Our next milestone is to extend our leadership, mainly today European-based, to become a global player, a top global player. Over the past 6 years, we brought the LCV operating margin from below to group average. From now on, we'll bring it from group average to above group average during the plan, as Ashwani Gupta, Alliance LCV business unit leader, will explain. The alliance, which sold a total of 1.6 million light commercial vehicle units in 2016, will obviously be in support of this strategy, which is totally coordinated by Ashwani. Our goal is to increase our sale by more than 40% by the end of the plan, from 465,000 units in 2016 for Renault to over 650,000 units by the end of the plan. By 2022, we'll double our market coverage to more than 50%, up from 26% in 2016. In China, through our joint venture with Brilliance and its Jinbei brand, we are planning to expand our presence in a very promising market where today more than 3 million light commercial vehicles are sold annually. Finally, another asset and key contributor to Renault's growth and profit is a unique, fully owned B2B and B2C business, RCI Bank and Services. RCI financing has reached a record penetration rate as a proportion of Groupe Renault sales at over 40% in 2016, up from 36% in 2011, and going to 42% by the end of Drive the Future. While adding to the group's performance with an industry-leading profitability level, RCI has contributed to improving customers' loyalty. Customer who has taken an RCI financing is more inclined to renew its vehicle purchase with us and buy RCI services contracts. Over the past 3 years, we brought the number of service contracts sold per alliance registration from 0.6 to 1, and will bring it up to 1.4 by the end of the plan. On top of its financial and insurance services offer, and because of its regular touch points with customers, RCI will be our platform for connected services and new mobility offer, as Gianluca De Fici, RCI Bank CEO, will explain. Leveraging these 5 assets, whether through the lines or from Renault's own expertise, we will harness every growth opportunity along the way. We will launch 21 new vehicles, of which 3 add-ons and 18 total renewals, without counting the Lada renewal number. We will entirely renew our B segment, our SUV lineup, and most of our global access range. We will extend 13 models to new regions. Supported by this product momentum, we will exceed 200,000 unit sales in 9 emerging or developed countries, up from 2 in 2016. Outside Europe, our sales will reach 3.2 million units in 2022, up from 1,650,000 sold in 2016. We are already the #1 brand in Africa and intend to remain so. In China, our objective is to sell over 550,000 units by the end of the plan, up from 35,000 units sold in 2016. To support our plans over the next 6 years, we obviously will launch many vehicles, 7 of them, of which 3 will be electric models. In Russia, we will build on our past and present investments and efforts, as Eurasia Region Chairman Denis Levot will develop later on. We will leverage our competitive extended product lineup and strong industrial base, and particularly our competitive local integration to increase our market penetration. By 2022, we plan to double Lada sales in Russia while bringing AvtoVAZ profitability to group's level and increase Renault brand's market share to 10%. Altogether, our ambition for Groupe Renault is to remain the #1 automotive group in Russia with 30% market share by the end of the plan, and all of this at a very high level of profitability. In Europe, we will consolidate our position as the region's 2nd brand and will keep our lineup young and competitive, notably with the renewal of our best-selling cars in the B segment and under the Dacia brand. Europe Region Chairman Jean-Christophe Kugler will enter into more specifics on that topic. Our profitable, sustainable growth will allow us to sustain an attractive and competitive dividend policy for our shareholders throughout the plan, as you will see in the presentation made by Renault Chief Financial Officer Clotilde Delbos. Our growth and performance objective can obviously only be attained if we meet customers' expectations. This is key to our brand's image and sustainability. Thierry Koskas, Renault Head of Sales and Marketing, will explain we will reinforce how we're going to be reinforcing our brand value and improve customer satisfaction. Drive the Future will rely on the motivation, the engagement, and skills of the women and men of Renault. They are the key of the company future, and we will provide the required training and hire the right talents to enable them to address our industry challenges individually and as a team. First half of the plan, we will specifically train 13,000 employees in an upgrade of their skill, and we are planning 35,000 recruitments globally. Obviously, the 35,000 recruitment do not correspond to an addition of the headcount of the group, because a very big part of this recruitment is mainly to replace for people engaged in a turnover. Finally, we'll meet our objective while keeping our contribution to the industry low carbon transition. From 2010 to 2016, we surpassed our objective to lower our carbon footprint by 3% per year and achieved a 3.3% reduction per year. By 2022, we plan to reduce it by 25%. The roadmap is clear. 1.5 million additional vehicles in volume will come from our planned growth outside Europe. We'll grow to more than 70 billion euro in revenue while generating a positive free cash flow each year and delivering over 7% operating margin by the end of the plan, which is a 50% more in terms of total profit. That's the scorecard. We'll grow in a robust, sustainable way, supported by our renewed lineup and our geographical expansion. We'll generate a recurring annual profit well balanced among regions and particularly well-balanced among the multiple segments of the market. The 2005 regional French car maker, dependent on one model, Mégane, one country, France, is now a profitable, resilient, multipolar global company, and will be even more so by the end of the plan. We made long-term investments in product segments, countries, and technologies that are very valuable for us today, and where we have a competitive advantage, and we will continue to do so. Our strategy is obviously on short-term and long-term prospects. Being part of the #1 automotive alliance gives us the required scale to embrace a wide array of technology, attract the best partners, attract the best talents on the market. We are confident we can turn upcoming industry and society's challenges into significant business opportunities for Renault. And we are convinced that this will be an exciting drive. Thank you for your attention. I will now leave the floor to Renault Chief Competitive Officer, Thierry Bolloré.
Thank you, Mr. Ghosn, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I will first focus on our key levers of performance, which is scale, competitiveness, and technologies. And by leveraging on those assets over the next 6 years, Groupe Renault shall deliver product line and services meeting customers' expectations while growing in a sustainable, profitable way. That will be my second focus. So let's start with scale. Leverage scale is one of our main drivers of synergies. Last month, Mr. Ghosn announced that 70% of alliance volumes will be based on CMF platforms. At Renault, by 2022, we expect 80% of our volumes to come from our common platforms. That's about 4 million vehicles out of a total over 5 million. Following the success of our CMF architecture in the C and D segments, we'll extend our platform to cover all of our major segments. First, with the CMF in the B segment with the new Clio, and we'll also launch an E-platform for our electric vehicle range that will cover from the B to the D segment. We'll launch new platforms, and we'll make the most out of them by increasing the range of models built on these shared architectures. Take the B segment platform, we can benefit from a dual modularity. First one is being able to offer similar specifications with different skins. For instance, Clio and Captur sold in Europe, or Duster and Captur with a K sold in emerging markets. Those cars share the same specifications with different body types. Second modularity one is being able to offer several levels of specifications under the same skin. That's new to us and will support our geographical product extension worldwide. For instance, having a Renault Captur sold in Europe, Brazil, and Russia with the same body type, but different specification. This modularity, on top of cost savings, allows us to offer a consistent Renault design across the world with the right cost. We also see optimization across the whole supply base. Our increased use of common platform generates 3 benefits. The first one is increased standardization. By 2019, we aim to cover 100% of non-visible parts on our alliance modules, which has a direct impact on our part costs, which should be lowered up by -20% by the end of the plan. Second is deepened localization. Along with our common platforms come higher volumes of all Alliance and Groupe Renault brands, which allows us to improve our localization rate. And third, of course, is panel optimization. What does it mean? It means that efficiency in engineering creates efficiency in purchasing. The more rationalized is our part catalog, the less suppliers you need. That's why panel management is about. It will be a win-win situation as well and bring an additional 30% turnover to suppliers, representing 80% of our purchase. So scale is our first performance lever, and we make the most out of the use of it, of common platform. Then comes competitiveness through the whole value chain. And I want to start with engineering. 3 ways of generating efficiency with engineering. The first one is through our extended company approach, and I want to explain what it means. Our culture is to avoid duplication. If the technology already exists, we will not develop it internally. We look for turnkey projects with the best partner we can find on the market. We boost our upstream collaboration and set partnership with both startups and major players to deliver the best value cost benefits. We work within and outside the industry with giants like Microsoft, but also with small innovative gems. This pragmatic approach allows us to focus on our own resources on what will make our offer unique in the market. Second way is through recruiting and skilling up at Groupe Renault to embrace technology disruptions hitting our industry, namely the increase of software content of vehicles. Software experts will jump from 30% to 50% of our total engineering headcounts, with skill in mechatronics, digital tools, and embedded systems. We also strengthen our expertise through the integration of Intel research and development teams, now part of our brand new Renault Software Lab. Finally, we'll leverage on our regional technical centers. The third way is leveraging our membership within the Alliance, which should allow us to double our synergies from 2016 to 2022. So, in short, through our extended company approach, through recruiting and skilling up, and through the Alliance, we'll enable our engineering team to face 25% R&D capacity increase in the first 3 years of the plan. And we'll address this challenge while improving our productivity by 5%. Manufacturing now is another major competitive lever. Over the course of Drive the Future, we plan to improve our efficiency by 50% in our vehicle plants and by over 20% in our powertrain plants. We should get closer to our targeted benchmark position. How will we get there? We will be building from our strong foundations laid by the competitiveness plan we launched in 2013. Over the past years, we looked for improvement from automation at workstation, on flows within the plant, and beyond with our suppliers, and including, of course, the digital levers. From 2020, this plan will deliver gains of 500 million euros in a full year. Second, it will lift our plant utilization ratio from 96% to more than 120% on harbor scope, including cross-manufacturing with partners. And third, we reinforce continuously a constructive social dialogue with workers, of whom 80% are subject to collective agreements. This has a key impact on our sustainable growth, our efficiency, and flexibility. And thanks to highly skilled and adaptable workforce, we ensure 30% production variability. Fourth, we enjoy already flexible powertrain lines to answer demand as it changes. We will reach a full flexibility, including for powertrain. The use of digital tools is central to our competitiveness plan, as it is central to the whole company. Since 2016, more than 100 million euros of value has been delivered by our digital transformation. We have just launched a dedicated structure, Renault Digital, designed to help everyone in the company to use digital tools to enhance each and everyone's efficiency. We launched it with 150 million euro investment per year, and we aim to deliver over 1 billion euro yearly by 2020. Half of that amount results from cost improvement, half from additional business contributions. It's across the company and in depth. Renault Digital will help generate value, build digital competencies in the company, and fully leverage the value of data. We are also upgrading digital skills throughout the company, and we are implementing new, agile, and more collaborative ways of working. We have covered 2 performance levers, scale and competitiveness. Next one is technology. At Renault, as Mr. Ghosn mentioned, we are investing in the right technology bricks to prepare for the future, namely electric vehicles, connectivity, and autonomous driving. So let's start with EV. Our target is to reinforce our leadership position. Our offer in EV will increase from 10% to up to 20% in 2022. We are entering a transition period as well, with more stringent regulations, especially on CAFE-X. And we have seen this coming. And we will develop parallel electrification in our cars with the introduction of hybrid and plug-in hybrid vehicles, starting on the B segment, along with our affordable local-box hybrid systems, and micro-electrification on all our gasoline engines. Altogether, 50% of our offer will be electrified in 2022. These massive efforts on electrification goes along with continuous improvement on internal combustion engines. On gasoline engines, we will introduce further technical advances to drive efficiently with variable compression ratio, gasoline particle filters, and micro-electrification to match CAFE-X. And on diesel engines, we will streamline our lineup from 3 to 1 family of engines, and we will extend fuel-efficient SCR technology to further reduce emissions. Our diesel offer will be reduced by 50% by 2022. On connectivity now, we are increasing our capabilities. As Mr. Gold mentioned, the proportion of connected vehicles in our portfolio will increase from 30% to 100% in 2022 in key markets. Those vehicles will be connected to software, common infotainment systems, and connectivity modules through the new Alliance Connected Cloud. Later, my colleague Thierry Koskas will elaborate on what this cloud will enable us to do. In short, it will manage all the digital interaction between the vehicle and data management system. During the course of the plan, these major changes will be rolled out across the portfolio. We will start with the new Clio and the Espace and Talisman models on the new CD platform. Our ambition is to provide connected functionality for all customers and all models. The third technology brick we are investing in is autonomous driving. As Mr. Gold mentioned, we will launch 15 autonomous drive models by the end of the plan. These vehicles will be available in China, South Korea, Japan, and Europe. The first AD feature allowing vehicles to take control on single lanes will appear on the new Clio and Espace, with other vehicles to follow. The levels of automation will then comprehend multi-lane autonomous control, which we will introduce from 2021 and on, followed by self-driving capabilities in cities with gradual delegation of control from driver to vehicle from 2022 and on. Our electric vehicle will be a showcase for those technologies. Finally, leveraging on the Alliance will be also launched a business activity in ride-hailing robo-taxi vehicles starting in 2022, as Mr. Gold mentioned. Ultimately, we are targeting a Monozukuri gain of 4.2 billion euro over the course of Drive the Future. Over the first half of the plan, we will allocate 400 million euro of R&D extra spending to support the technology shifts that we develop. Along with the same array of technology we benefit from the Alliance, this enables us to deliver a product lineup tailored for profitable growth, and that's the second part of my presentation. So the upstream efforts and financial discipline we have just reviewed will indeed support our growth. Namely, we intend to first sustain our business where we have strong established positions, expand our business where we are starting from a low base or recovering from local headwinds, build on our EV leadership, and continue in bringing smart innovations for all. For that purpose, we will launch 21 models. Let's start with how we will sustain our business. Over Drive the Future, we will renew 18 products, and we will extend our SUV lineup with 3 additional models. We will also expand our existing business everywhere there is the opportunity for it. In terms of extension, as Mr. Ghosn highlighted, amongst our key markets is China. We will launch there 7 vehicles over the next 6 years, including 3 EV models. Our partnership with Jinbei will accelerate our development in the LCV business. And India is another key market for business expansion. Building on the success of Kwid, we will launch 4 models to address additional customers' needs. And we will do so by leveraging on our existing unique asset, our CMF-A platform in Chennai. Finally, we will strengthen our position in Iran following the agreement announced last summer with our new partners, Hydro and Negin Khodro. On EV leadership now, as mentioned by Mr. Ghosn, we will develop and launch 8 pure electric vehicles models, including 5 brand new ones. These models will cover our major segments and will account for 20% of our lineup. On top of our 8 zero-emission models, we will introduce 12 electrifications in our portfolio. In the upper range, through a joint solution with Mitsubishi, in the lower segment with our affordable hybrid system, and all EV technologies you can imagine are shared across the alliance. Finally, we will keep on innovating and introducing new concepts. First, you can see on the left, we will launch a compact MPV in the Indian market, a car to transport many adults, but in less than 4 meters length. Second, we will introduce a brand new offer. It's a C-SUV to meet crossover fragmentation with worldwide deployment and leveraging our dual-spec platform strategy. Third, we have an affordable offer for electric vehicle, which we will launch first in China. So, Drive the Future is about delivering a profitable, sustainable growth in a yet rapidly changing industry with many upcoming challenges. We will contribute to the group performance by focusing on 2 main areas. First, we will leverage the assets gained through the alliance. Scale, our cost competitiveness, and a wide array of technologies. Second, we will translate these assets into our product line and services, offer tailored to meet both customers' needs and regulation expectations. I want to thank you for your attention, and I will now leave the floor to Mr. Koskas.
Thank you very much, Thierry. Good morning, everyone. So the key priority for sales and marketing will be to further improve our efficiency, building on the progress that were made over the last plan. And I would like to illustrate that with 4 concrete points. The first one, in terms of channel mix, our situation at group level is healthy and is improving in 2017 as our share in the retail channel is higher than our global share, as you can see on the graph showing the market share per channel in the G5, the 5 main European markets. And we aim to maintain this position. Secondly, our residual values have improved everywhere in the world, not only thanks to the renewal of the lineup, but also because we maintain the attractiveness of existing lineup, like Clio, and Jean-Christophe Kugler will show you more details in a few minutes. To illustrate this point, the graph shows, again in G5, that we have gained 4 points in residual value rate, positioning Renault as second in the basket, and again, we aim to maintain this position. The third point is our fixed marketing expenses policy. These expenses cover, as you know, advertising, network modernization, motorsport, and so on. In 2017, we stopped the increase of these expenses, and we aim to keep them flat throughout the plan, which should represent a productivity of over 25% across the plan. And finally, in terms of pricing power, as you know, we compare ourselves with the basket of mainstream brands worldwide. So worldwide, we have improved our position, as we are now more than 1 point above the basket average represented by the line 100, and we aim to further improve this position throughout the plan. In Europe, 2 years ago, we were cheaper than the basket average. We are now above, and again, we will improve this position throughout the plan. So to sustain our objective of improving marketing efficiency, we rely on three key levers. Firstly, obviously, the product lineup, as described by Thierry Bolloré, that will bring more attractiveness. Secondly, strengthening our brands, and I will come back to that in a moment. And thirdly, the digitalization of our activities, mainly our customer journey, and the opportunity represented by connected services. So, speaking now about brand strength, as you know, our portfolio is made of three main brands: Renault, the mainstream brand, and then two access brands, Dacia, sold mainly in Europe, Africa, and Turkey, and Lada, which is today mainly focused on Russia and neighboring countries. Obviously, I do not forget Alpine that we are just about to launch. We now have a very clear definition of our brands and their value. And in terms of brand management, our objective is to have Renault in every country where the group is present, and whenever there is space for it, one access brand, either Lada or Dacia. I would like now to focus briefly on the Renault brand. On top of the tagline "Passion for Life" that you well know, our objective is to promote and make visible and obvious the two core values of the Renault brand, French design and easy life, throughout all our products and services. French design relates to the warm and sensual design that we have shown with the renewal of the lineup, but also our ability to offer innovative concepts like Quid. Easy life consists in making our cars and services easy to use through intuitive interface, features that adapt to the customer needs, and, for example, multi-sense system or the 400-kilometer Zoe are strong illustrations of easy life. So through a consistent policy based on these two core values, we aim to reach a brand value that would put us at the level of the top 70s brand worldwide, according to the Interbrand ranking. In 2017, our brand value already progressed by more than 20%, and we are at the level of the top 90 brand, entering the top 100 for the first time. I just want to clarify that while our brand value is calculated by Interbrand, we will not appear in their official classification as we are not present in North America. And secondly, from a customer point of view, our objective is to reach top 5 amongst the dozen of generalist car brands in terms of brand good opinion in 2/3 of our 20 main markets. Now, let's move and finish with the digitalization of our activities. Digitalization will strongly impact our customer journey. We want this change to be as easy and enjoyable as possible, giving our customers the possibility to carry out any activity in every channel, whether physical or digital. And we translate that into very concrete steps. So the first one, in terms of digital experience, we will have completely renewed all our website by the beginning of 2019. The amount of sales generated by digital leads will double within the plan, and will give the customer the opportunity to manage any contact or request with Renault through a single comprehensive mobile app that will be launched at the beginning of next year. Secondly, the dealer network. It will remain the main sales channel, but it will be integrated within the new customer journey. Dealer formats will evolve in order to be closer to customer flows and gain efficiency. More than 800 new format dealers, like stores in shopping malls and so on, will be created. And finally, our dealer network will diversify its activities through selling services and extend used cars activities. Third, part of the customer journey will also change thanks to connectivity, which will enable us to offer more than 30 different services in various areas. Connected services that will extend the customer's digital world into the car, enhancement of existing services through connectivity and usage of data, for example, tailor-made insurance, predictive maintenance. Mobility services, either for fleet or individual, like fleet asset management, car or ride sharing. We have already started through Renault Mobility in partnership with RCI. And finally, services designed with partners, for example, the possibility for pay for services through the car, like paying for fuel. Overall, the digitalizations will bring benefits. First, in terms of customer satisfaction, as it was already said, our objective is to be top 3, not only in dealer experience, but in terms of online experience. But it will also bring benefits in terms of business. Our objective is that 100% of the cars sold in key markets will be connected, bringing a 300 million euro additional turnover from connected services. So, in conclusion, higher brand value, customer journey transformation will enable to further improve our marketing efficiency. And I will now hand over to Stéphane Müller. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Thierry, and good morning to everybody. Here on this slide, you can see our 2016 sales footprint, and you can see that 48% of our sales are outside of Europe. And as Mr. Ghosn has already mentioned in his speech, one key element of the plan is, of course, to continue to grow outside of Europe. Now, to do that, you need an organization that is able to understand and adapt itself to local customer needs. In other words, you need an organization that is truly regionalized. We implement that, by example, by having local design centers, as you can see on the slide, as well as local engineering centers, where we use local talents to develop solutions for the markets, but also global solutions. And by benefiting from the alliance through, for instance, shared powertrain, shared platforms, and shared manufacturing. On the next slide, you can see our growth ambition for Drive the Future. We believe TIV worldwide will grow by approximately 17%, mainly driven by a rebound in Russia, in South America, as well as, of course, continued growth in China, but also very important for us in Iran and in India. And we believe that Europe is more or less going to remain stable. In this TIV, it is our ambition to grow sales by more than 40% to over 5 million units at the end of the plan. This will happen mainly outside of Europe, and therefore markets outside of Europe will represent, at the end of the plan, more than 60% of our sales. And by the way, as you can see on the right-hand side of the slide, we are growing in the right segments. SUV volumes will multiply by more than 2, and LCV will increase by more than 40%. Now, a big part of our success, as Mr. Ghosn has already mentioned in the past, but for sure also in the future, is our global access business model. This is a unique asset for Renault. It is a unique asset because of our ability to design to cost at its best, working very closely with our suppliers and constantly challenging the normal way we are doing business. That's one element. But it's also because of our global industrial footprint. Global access is currently industrialized in 16 plants around the world, with a localization rate that is with 70% on average at its best, and not to forget, with a very specific business model for Dacia that operates with minimum incentives and focus on the retail channel. And proof of that is, for example, if you take the European market and you only look at the retail channel, so that is the channel where private customers buy, then Sandero is the most sold car in Europe to private customers. Our global access strategy is based on a lineup expansion with Quid family going from 1 to 4 models, a full renewal of Logan and Sandero, and a Duster renewal and a new C SUV offer in the future. And global access is the backbone of our internationalization. Next geographical expansion is China, where we will sell an affordable EV based on this global access platform. And this geographical extension is already happening today. Example is, as you well know, Quid in India, Duster around the world, with more than 1 million units sold over the past 7 years. Duster Orc, first Renault pickup, launched in 2015 in South America, and the international Captur, which is based on a Duster platform. Global access will grow from 1.2 million to over 2 million by the end of the plan. That means more than 80%. And now I'm going to show you the ambition for 5 regions, keeping in mind, as Monsieur Ghosn has already pointed out, that of course the Chinese market offers a huge opportunity for the group and is clearly our priority number 1. Europe will obviously remain a profit pillar for the group. While addressing new demands in the marketplace, we assume not much market growth in Europe and only a slight increase in our sales from an already very good position in the market. We will secure Europe's success through a full EV lineup, expanding electrification, and Mr. Kugler, who is the chairman of the Europe region, will go into more detail a little bit later. Second is going to be the renewal of blockbusters, global access, B-segment cars, but also LCV, of course, and with an even more efficient and flexible manufacturing to be able to respond to changing demands, especially, of course, also with regards to changes in the diesel-gasoline mix. As a result, Europe will be at average operating margin at the end of the plan. 60% of our lineup will be electrified. Renault will, of course, stay the second largest brand in Europe. And last but not least, you will see that the Dacia story will continue with great success. Obviously, in the Asia-Pacific region, China represents the market with the biggest potential for Renault since we have started just 2.5 years ago. And it is our priority number 1. In a TIV that grows 20%, Asia-Pacific is the fastest growing region. It will represent approximately 13% of our worldwide sales at the end of the plan. Our sales in the region will represent more than 700,000 units, of which approximately 550,000 units will be in China. Main levers for the growth are in China, going from 2 to 9 localized models. Our new alliance EV joint venture called EGT, and where will already the first car be launched in 2019. Our new LCV GV with Brilliance, enabling us to cover more than 50% of the Chinese LCV market, and our level of local integration, which is with 90% among the best. In Korea, we benefit from the alliance through cross-manufacturing and also from our level of local integration, which is very competitive at approximately 70%. As a result of all of this, China will become a growing profit center for the group. With EGT, we're going to enter the market with the best TCO level, and in Korea, we'll be on the podium for market share. In Africa, Middle East and India, called AMI region, we have a strong foundation for profitable growth. In this region, we see the total markets growing by more than 50%. AMI region should increase its volume to more than 800,000 units, of which 500,000 units are in India and Iran together. In order to do so, the main levers will activate are: in North Africa, we'll continue to build on our strong reputation as a local brand with an already outstanding market share of approximately 35% in the whole of North Africa. The strengthening of our Quid family from 1 model to 3 in India. The introduction of new products in higher price brackets. And best in class for cost efficiency through the use of our Alliance Engineering Center as well as our Alliance plant. And by keeping the number 1 position in digital, where we have been the pacemaker already with the introduction of a digital showroom when we launched Quid. In Iran, a market expected to reach the 2 million mark at the end of the plan, which is, by the way, the equivalent of France today. We will increase our sales 2.5-fold through a lineup that will cover 80% of the market, additional capacity, approximately 150,000 units that we will secure, and an exclusive Renault distribution network at best level. As a result of this, AMI region will see its profit contribution multiplied by 5 by the end of the plan. Renault will maintain its number one position, of course, in Africa, and India will have a market share over 5% and keeping Renault as the first European brand. In Iran, we will maintain a top 3 position with a market share of approximately over 15%. In the Americas region, we forecast a TIV recovery of approximately 40%. And in this context, Renault will increase its sales to 600,000 units. And we will achieve that especially through a full product offensive in SUV, LCV, and of course our global access lineup. And this will lead to an offer that covers more than 90% of the market. And we'll make sure that our products are fully tuned to market demands by further empowering our local engineering and design teams. As a result of that, we expect the profit to multiply by 3, a 10% market share in Brazil, and to be the number one in Argentina with more than 17% in market share. Now, our Asia region consists mainly of 3 countries: Russia, Romania, and Turkey. In these 3 countries, Renault, as you know, has historically a strong industrial and market presence. And Mr. Donny Levot, who is heading this region, will go into more detail for the Russian market just a little later. TIV in this full region will increase by approximately 65%, supported by a recovery in Russia, combined with a steady growth in Romania and also Turkey. Our Asia sales volume will grow to over 1.1 million units. The key levers for this growth are a Renault SUV offensive in Russia, where we will have a segment coverage of over 85%, leveraging our industrial footprint with more than 500,000 units sold on the Alliance B platform in the Russian market, and will continue to strongly benefit from the competitive supply base in Turkey and in Romania. Last but not least, we will turn Lada into a profit booster for the group. This will result in a profit multiplied by 5 at the end of the plan, and Renault keeping its leading position as the number one automotive group in Russia, as the number one in Romania, and the number one in Turkey. Thank you very much for listening. I now hand over to Jean-Christophe Kugler, who is the head of the Europe region.
Thank you, Stefan. As for Europe, our vision is clear. We will build on the strong, healthy foundations led by Drive the Change and go forward as a pillar of contribution to Groupe Renault's profitability. Over the last strategic plan, Europe's contribution to the group's profitability increased by 50% while gaining 1 point in market share. Drive the Future is about leveraging existing strengths and assets to maintain this high level of profit while addressing industry challenges. First, we will focus on strengthening our brand and monitoring our revenue. Second, we will keep up our product momentum through key model renewals. And third, we will build on our EV leadership and further electrify our product mix. Let's start with our brand. During Drive the Change, we renewed and extended our product lineup. Beautifully designed cars with a signature, both Renault and Dacia, start to appear on the streets and attract attention. We invested part of what we saved on Monozukuri activities in product competitiveness. We invested in what creates value for customers and improved our product enrichment. That's exactly what we will keep on doing over the next 6 years, and we will pay special attention to a set of 4 indicators reflecting our stronger brand image and renewed lineup. Our customers' loyalty to the brand, which made a 13% jump during Drive the Change. We intend to further boost loyalty, in part through RCI services, which we know benefit us in this area. As Thierry Koskas said, the group intends to reach top 3 in customer satisfaction for services. Second, we will maintain our TPVA, retail prices, above average basket. This will be supported by design instead of price, becoming the first reason to purchase a Renault car. It was the case in 2016, and it's still true in 2017. Our channel mix is equally important. Our retail sales are 10 points higher than the market. Renault brand being equal to the market, our performance is mainly due to Dacia, of which 80% sales are realized through retail. And with the Dacia renewal we have in sight, this trend should be confirmed in the years to come. Finally, we will monitor our residual value very closely at model and country level, as you can see with the Clio example. Benefiting from a younger, more modern lineup, Groupe Renault's vehicles' residual value increased by 4.8 points in Europe over the past 2 years. Our upcoming product launches, renewal and facelift, along with the introduction of value technologies, will support our improvement. Which brings us to our product momentum. From 2010 to 2016, we launched 19 models in Europe. Over the next 6 years, we will launch 18. First, we will renew our best-selling model, Clio. Last year, we sold nearly 320,000 units in Europe. The renewed version, packed with innovative features, will be a showcase of leveraging technologies from the Alliance. New Clio will be electrified, fully connected vehicle equipped with a level 2 autonomous driving mode, allowing the vehicle to take control on signal lanes. And these technologies will be available in an affordable B-segment vehicle. Second, AD mode and connectivity will also be available on our C and D segment, which will be entirely facelifted and equipped with a new engine range. Third, we will renew our entire SUV lineup. We will build on our existing success. Capture is Europe's #1 B SUV. In 2017, along with renewed Koleos and Kadjar, new Capture will harness the opportunities offered by this growing SUV market trend and support our sales in the years to come. Finally, we will renew another group's best seller, Kangoo, and remain a top player in the LCV market in Europe. As for Dacia, which broke another sales record in 2016, we have several renewals coming up. As revealed in Frankfurt, we will renew Dacia Duster, our bestseller, which sold over 1 million units in 44 countries. We will also renew our Sandero range. Also, thanks to LPG, lowering vehicle emission feature, Dacia will contribute to the group's compliance to CAFE regulation. Dacia, very strong business model, has proved resilient over the years, including over the last couple of years with limited product momentum. This product offensive will lead to a new step for Dacia as an essential contributor to the region's performance. Last but not least, our objective, built on our EV leadership, is the electrification of our lineup. We will leverage our experience and our network to remain Europe's leader and keep on offering the best price autonomy ratio along with the best technologies to ensure an easy electric life for our customers. We will fully renew our EV lineup and launch 5 additional models, bringing our total EV range to 8 vehicles. Our target is 80% market coverage by EV models. 60% of our models will be electrified in 2022. We will be offering our customers a diversified, electrified offer at the best cost while contributing to the group's profitability. Additional zero-emission models, additional electrified vehicle. We will be ready for 2020 CAFE regulation. You will learn more about our company EV strategy from my colleague Gilles Normand in just a few moments. That concludes my presentation. I will now leave the floor to Denis Lerotte.
Thank you, Jean-Christophe. Hello, everybody. I will talk about our perspectives in Russia, as it may become Groupe Renault #1 market by the end of the plan. As everyone knows, the Russian market in Russia has its own specificities because of, first, extreme temperatures from -60 to +40 centigrades, because of its physical size, 10,000 kilometers from west to east, and because of its very challenging road conditions. Car ownership in Russia is bound to increase, as we only have 1 car per 3 inhabitants, whereas in Europe it's rather 1 car for 2 inhabitants. As a consequence, there are 50 million cars on the streets with a fairly old average age, about 13 years. Russia still remains anchored to the accessible car segment, as B-segment car, roughly under 10,000 euro, represent more than half of the market today. At the same time, Russia is urbanized, modern and connected. Finally, the Russian economy is very cyclical and closely related to oil price, and so is the ruble. As a result of all this, when the economy allows it, the demand for cars can be very high. In the last 15 years, the market approached 3 million cars 2 times. Given these trends, Groupe Renault believes in the potential of the Russian market. You can see here that we count on a moderate recovery, which would bring it back to more than 2.5 million cars by the end of the plan. 2017 trends already confirm that the recovery has begun. Renault's strategy in Russia is based on 3 pillars: adapted product, a strong industrial base, and a high rate of local integration. As for the product, our journey began with Logan, offering the first affordable foreign car. Sandero Stepway and then the Duster have been the second breakthrough in the growing crossover segment. In 2016, we introduced Captur with a K. That is a great combination of the successful European design and the local, well-localized Duster platform. This recipe allowed to capture market value with optimized investment and cost. This last step allowed the brand to reach more than 8% market share in the last 2 years. The second pillar is a strong industrial base, because with the economy and exchange rate fluctuation, it is impossible to have a stable car import policy. We first established a factory in Moscow, and then our manufacturing footprint was further expanded with the AvtoVAZ plant in Togliatti, where half of the Renault vehicles are now manufactured. And the third pillar of the strategy is the deep local integration. This is the key to competitiveness, and this has been made possible thanks to the combined volume of the global Renault, Nissan, AvtoVAZ alliance in the country. Thanks to these 3 levers, our market share has steadily increased despite the crisis, bringing Renault brand to the 4th position in the market. This consistent approach to the Russian market forged our competitiveness and also our resilience to crisis. But the main lever of the group ambition in Russia is the Lada brand and AvtoVAZ industrial footprint. Lada is unconditionally the national brand, a reference, and will remain the #1 brand in Russia. Of course, there is a roadmap to bring the brand to the level of our ambitions. We've already started the renewal of models from the old to the new Lada. On the screen, we can see 2 of the most recent Lada creations, which mark the brand's new DNA with a modern design. Vesta, a sedan launched in 2015, which is now the 3rd most sold car in the country. And then the X-Ray, based on the Renault B0 platform, which is also in the top 10 of the sales. With these 2 models, the brand has gained 4 points of market in the last 3 years. AvtoVAZ also presents an opportunity in terms of synergies. It is not only a complete brand with its design, research center, own engineering, but it's also a large manufacturing center with global capacity for the alliance. Cars are already manufactured today for Datsun, for Nissan and Renault in Togliatti and Izhevsk. Moreover, AvtoVAZ produces engines and gearboxes, not only for its own needs, but also for alliance brands. Finally, it is an alliance export base for components. We already export parts to manufacture Renault vehicles in Oran, in Algeria, and a number of mechanical components worldwide. This industrial base is a win-win alliance. For Renault, it brings capacities and competitiveness, and for AvtoVAZ, it brings new technology, more industrial activity, and know-how, such as the alliance production way. Lada's ambition is to remain the #1 brand, targeting 20% market share, with profitability at group level or above by the end of the plan. This will be achieved thanks to a complete range renewal. Beyond Vesta and X-Ray, we're aiming at a massive renewal by the end of the plan. We will also leverage the brand new DNA, improve the brand image, and modernize the distribution network. But profitability means performance. Implementation of the alliance method is key for progress in quality, Monozukuri, supply chain, and manufacturing efficiency. The first results of 2017 confirm that the turnaround has successfully started. Next milestone will be a positive operating margin in 2018 and free cash flow break-even in 2019. As for the Renault brand, the objective is to continue growing towards C segment and crossovers and reach 10% market share by the end of the plan at the level of historical high profitability. We will be able to leverage the full potential of our existing range, notably thanks to Capture, and we are preparing the next steps for the future to expand our market coverage. The first of the 4 new models to come will be presented at the 2018 Moscow Motor Show. Our challenge is also to pursue innovation to anticipate the evolution of our customers' expectation in terms of engines, 4x4 offer, and connectivity. On top of this, modernization of the network, improvement of customer satisfaction, and digital excellence will support our growth. To sum up, Groupe Renault targets 30% market share in Russia by the end of the plan. Profitable growth of both brands will be achieved thanks to our clear brand positioning strategy and product plan, and also the full leverage of the alliance synergies, shared platform to optimize investment, purchase, and industrial performance, and shared organizations that are already operating in purchasing and supply chain. All this will position Russia as one of the key growth levers of the plan. Thank you, and now let me leave the floor to Ashwani Gupta for the LCV presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Lowert. Good morning, everyone. The ambition of Groupe Renault in the LCV segment is to become a top global player and the leading European van manufacturer. During our Renault Drive the Change plan, the LCV business realized a turnaround with a great progression on volumes by 40%, on market share by 48%, and increased our market coverage from 15% to 24%, and as Mr. Ghosn mentioned, increasing our profitability from below group average to the group average. As a result, the LCV business became one of the profitable growth pillars of Groupe Renault. In our next Renault Drive the Future plan, we will continue to grow. As Mr. Ghosn mentioned, we aim to increase the volume by 40%, and with this target, we will become #1 European van manufacturer. We will again double the market coverage from 24% to 50% by conquering China, while targeting profitability above the group average. Now, the assets we have built up a solid foundation of 3 key strengths to enter the Drive the Future plan. #1 brand, #2 products, and #3, the market penetration. At first, brand. We launched Renault Pro Plus, an expert brand which focuses on tailor-made products and services with just one objective, which is how to support professional customers to make more and better business. The expert brand carries a specific and efficient network with physical and digital over 660 outlets in 40 countries. And these outlets make 50% of our LCV sales. In our next plan, we will continue to expand on it for more than 800 worldwide. Second, on products, we added 2 pickups, Duster Oroch and Alaskan, to complete our range of 10 models of van and trucks. We offer more than 1,200 diversities to answer specific needs of our professional customers. In Drive the Future plan, we will be updating all of our products driven by the customer needs, including one of our flagship model, Kangoo, as already shared by Mr. Kugler. The third, markets. Our 2 main regional profit pillars today are Europe and Latin America. In Europe, we have 1/7 of the market, and we are #1 leaders in the electric segment, in which 1 out of 3 LCV EVs belong to Renault. We did a significant improvement in Latin America by adding the 2 pickups, and we increased our market share to 6.4%, which is 50% growth over the last 2 years. And today, Latin America is one of the main profit contributor, thanks to the strong performance of our products due to industrial and product competitiveness. As a result, Master, for example, is #1 in Brazil. Duster Oroch is #1 in Argentina and Colombia. With these assets, over the next 6 years, we will continue to combine our solid strengths with the new levers of future growth to realize our ambition to become a global player. The first lever is our entrance in the China LCV market. As Mr. Ghosn mentioned, China is a huge opportunity, and Renault LCV will start from zero. Due to strong need of urbanization of logistics, e-commerce, and the regulations, the 3 million unit LCV market will significantly grow and shift from local specifications to European specification of van. This is a great business opportunity, and which becomes a base for our new joint venture project with Brilliance, where Renault will bring its know-how of products and technologies and management expertise, and Brilliance Jimbe will share its strong brand, production facilities, and the distribution network. Together, we will be major player in mid-long term. The second lever is electrification. Mr. Jill Norman will touch upon it in the next session. The Renault already benefits a leading position in LCV electric market with the largest product offer from a current payload starting from 75 kgs to 1.1 tons and a volume capacity from 156 liters to 22 cubic meter, giving an access to the professional customer to improve the business day on day. We are accelerating the electrification of our vans, and by the end of the plan, 100% of our vans will be electrified, and then we aim to expand business to China. The third lever is a new collaboration on LCVs, Renault, Nissan, and Mitsubishi, which is foreseeing a global production of 2.5 million units by the end of this plan, and it will be a major contributor to the 10 billion euros alliance synergies. The strategy cornerstone of this newly started collaboration is complementary products and markets, keeping each company's brand identity. It will follow a very basic principle of cross-development and cross-manufacturing based on the strength of each company. For example, Renault, expert in vans, will do vans for Renault, Nissan, potentially Mitsubishi, and Nissan Mitsubishi, expert in frame-based pickups for Renault, Nissan, Mitsubishi. It will result in elimination of duplication and triplication on engineering and manufacturing cost, and it will also make a solid foundation for our marginal businesses with our partners, for example, Daimler. Now, while working on our profitable growth, we anticipate a significant evolution in the professional customer needs. E-commerce, we are preparing the future on the LCV mobility. The Renault new commercial mobility concept will represent a showcase of technologies and customer touchpoints, as mentioned by Mr. Bolloré and Mr. Koskas. This will allow professional customers to have, number one, city access, thanks to the electric mobility. Number two, the cost efficiency, thanks to the driverless technology. And number three, most important, smart logistics for better and better business with shared and connected platforms. And we are ready to start. We will launch our connected services end of next year with the 100% EV master. Autonomous driving and driverless technologies will be deployed over the next 6-year plan in our LCV range. So to summarize, with our 3 key strengths of Pro Plus export brand, full product lineup, market penetration, and then the 3 levers, which is conquer China market, 100% electrification of vans, and the Renault-Nissan-Mitsubishi collaboration for 2.5 million LCV economy of sales, we will keep our strong growth on sales by 40%. We will again double our market coverage, above 50%, to become leading European manufacturer in vans worldwide, while targeting above group average profitability. Now I'm pleased to leave the floor to Mr. Norman. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ashwani. Good morning. The vision we had for electric vehicle at Renault is now turning into profitable reality. I'm speaking about 100% pure electric vehicles. For our society, EVs are key for curbing CO2 emission and particulate emissions. For our company, the goal is sustainable profitability. It means operating margin non-dilutive business and substantial CO2 reduction as per CAFE calculation in Europe, China, and Korea. While many competitors are rushing to enter the market, they will have to face tough orders. And frankly, we went through that. And this is why we wish them good luck. But in our case, we have already turned the corner. This is why we are seeing the EV market tipping point as a solid business avenue from now. It all started in 2009. During this pioneer stage, we invested 8 years developing, manufacturing, and selling electric vehicles. We turned this experience into a real competitive advantage. We launched 4 pure electric vehicles. We are the market leader in Europe. We won the worldwide Formula E championship 3 years in a row. We developed critical experience in e-components, car energy optimization, and electromobility ecosystem. These are the kind of investment that help us introduce 2 years earlier than expected new Zoe, doubling its range to 400 km NEDC, while keeping a similar price point. And our customer loves their Zoe. More than 9 out of 10 recommend it. And we have built a customer base of over 140,000 already. And even more importantly, we relentlessly train our people across our company. And we can rely today on 100% trained dealers across Europe. This 8 years period counts as an invaluable learning experience. Again, our new competitors will have startup pains. We can accelerate. During the Drive the Change plan, our EV products were progressively improving their profitability measured on variable cost basis. During the Drive the Future plan, we will set up a robust and profitable core EV business at the level of Groupe Renault average profitability. Our strategy is based on 5 pillars. The development of a second generation of electric vehicle lineup to scale up our segment on geographical reach. The acceleration of our cost reduction activities. Leadership in affordable electric mobility. Features and services that make Renault electric life easy. And the introduction of an innovative set of services beyond our traditional business to capture revenues from energy and mobility sector. In the first part of the plan, we'll keep on improving our current lineup. Then, in the second part, we will introduce a new generation of electric vehicles with increased range, enabling versatile customer use scenario. In total, our electric vehicle lineup will be extended from 4 to 8 models by 2022, as mentioned earlier. We'll cover all key segments on the auto market, both in passenger cars and light commercial vehicles. Our goal is to remain the electric vehicle leader in Europe. At the same time, we'll enter the largest electric vehicle market worldwide,
China. Beyond these two markets, we'll develop our presence and leverage through foundations we laid in more than 25 countries outside Europe. The second pillar is about accelerating cost reduction. Here, we will look to the alliance. Our new 3D scalable electric platform, named CMF EV, will be capable of accommodating different battery packs in order to cover key segments with limited industrial diversity. We foresee that 80% of our electric vehicles will be based on alliance platforms. This will enable us to generate more than 40% R&D entry ticket reduction and 30% cost reduction on manufacturing. But we will also focus on e-component cost reduction. The introduction of new generation batteries will reduce cost in US dollars per kilowatt hour by at least 30% at pack level. Similarly, a new generation of e-motor, more powerful, more efficient, is being developed in-house, at least 20% below the current cost level. All these cost reduction efforts will be supported by better scale effect. As a result, we will improve price competitiveness on our bottom line. The third pillar of our strategy is about providing an attractive and affordable offer. We will lead the transition that will bring EV total cost of ownership to the level of internal combustion engine peers. Even in the context of possible government incentive reduction, our product lineup will be at parity by early 2020s, starting with B segment. Offer will be based on the right product content, optimized charging system, and attractive leasing scheme. This is part of our DNA, affordable electric mobility. Our next generation product will step up customer experience. The flat 4 layout on slim battery pack will improve interior roominess. It will integrate technology allowing autonomous drive capability. Electronic architecture will be compatible with over-the-air upgrades to extend new services to customers. We will continue to extend autonomy above 600 km NEDC, with the possibility to drive about 400 km rear range on motorway before 2022. Charging experience will be significantly improved, enabling 230 km recharge in 15 minutes, up from 120 km in 30 minutes today. No more EV range anxiety. All these improvements will provide an easy electric life for our customers. The fifth pillar is to generate environmental and economic value from the energy and mobility sectors, beyond traditional to auto OEMs. Our electric vehicles will be connected and integrated to their ecosystem. We set a specific group, which is already operational and has conducted concluding tests. We settled several partnerships and built a strong momentum already with several announcements made just in the last few weeks. During the Drive the Future plan, we will implement many initiatives, starting as soon as before the end of this year, within a growing portfolio of opportunities. All these new businesses will generate additional revenue, which will benefit our customer through total cost of ownership reduction, on our company through improved bottom line. Now is the time for electric momentum. We prepared for it very hard, and be sure we'll maximize it. Stay tuned. Thank you. I will now leave the floor to Mr. De Fici.
Thank you, Gilles. Good morning to everyone. We move now from the automotive to the bank, and I will introduce to all of you RCI Bank and Services. As subsidiary of Renault, RCI Bank and Services provide financial services for 7 brands of the Alliance in 36 countries. RCI is a full licensed banking group under the supervision of the European Central Bank since January 1st, 2016. RCI has a unique capital business model among all the main European capital companies. It is financially autonomous and does not benefit of any liquidity guarantee from its parent company. In the past years, RCI has demonstrated a very resilient and strong profitability, even during the crisis period. This has been possible thanks to a conservative risk approach, a strong liquidity management, and a lean and flexible organization. Now, starting from 2013, RCI has been able to deploy a strategy of commercial and financial growth unique in our history. The Alliance performance supported RCI growth, but RCI further developed both new and used car financing activities. At the same time, we have made services as a part of our core business. In 2016, RCI sold one service contract for every Alliance registration. As a result, RCI achieved a total portfolio of 38 billion euros at the end of December 2016. We delivered commercial growth with a strong control of the risk and an outstanding improvement of our cost efficiencies. The RCI financial results have reached a historical high level, a profit before tax above 900 million euros at the end of 2016. The return on equity of the group is positioning RCI Group as the most profitable capital company among our peers. RCI Bank is a reference in the sector. But now, if you look at the past results and we look also to the future, RCI cannot be considered only a profitable banking group. RCI is also an exceptional tool that contributes to the group's sales development in several ways. First of all, financing facilitated the conquest. 7% of the new Renault customers would have bought a vehicle from another brand or delayed the acquisition in absence of an RCI financing. Therefore, that means that 7% of the additional sales of the group have been done thanks to RCI. Financing also boosts the upselling at the time of the acquisition of the vehicle. In average, per each RCI financing contract sold, there has been an additional turnover of 300 euros for the brand. Our service offer, such as the car insurance or the maintenance contracts, allows also to bring back the customers into the dealership. On average, one service sold by RCI generates 200 euros of additional turnover in the after-sales. The analysis of the added value of RCI Bank and Service would be incomplete if we did not discuss the impact of the financing of the renewal and the brand loyalty. In fact, financing allows a faster vehicle renewal. Financing customers are replacing the vehicle on average 2 years earlier than a cash customers. And as mentioned by my colleague Jean-Christophe Kugler, financing also helps to improve the brand loyalty. 60% of RCI customers would choose again Groupe Renault brands for the next car, when only 50% of cash customers would do so. Finally, customers who finance the acquisition of the vehicle with RCI Bank and Services are overall more satisfied than customers not funded by RCI. But if our added value to the group has been proven, we are now challenged by a very competitive environment and the evolution of customer expectations. RCI had therefore initiated, as said, from several months, a transformation process of its business model. We have three main drivers for the future. First of all, we want to continue to optimize our core business model and to develop the value chain that I have just described. We want to facilitate the access to the automobile to our product and business customers by offering simple and competitive solutions. We want to leverage on finance to improve the customer satisfactions and the loyalty to the Alliance brands. Second, we want to propose innovative offers that will enrich our customer experience. From 2013 to 2016, we have been able to develop a strong service strategy in addition to the financing services. But our approach was to sell services together with the financing at the moment of the car sales in the dealer network. For the future, we will develop a multi-channel service strategy. Our services offer will be available on all channels, including digital, for our customers, and will be available for both cash and financing customers. New service products will be created in relation with the connectivity in our vehicles, such as the insurance based upon the driving behavior or integrated fleet asset management for business customers. And those new products will be available together with digital payment solutions. RCI will become the service platform for the group. Our third driver is to position RCI as a global mobility operator for business customers. We will develop car-sharing solutions as a service for corporations, and this activity will be done through our startup, RCI Mobility. We will then offer ride-hailing solutions for fleet customers. For that reason, we have acquired recently two startups, Karoo with a tax aggregation platform that will launch its activities by the end of the year, and Marcel, which is a ride-hailing company operating in Paris. We are taking also the decision to acquire and develop technologies. The recent acquisition of Yuzo, a dispatching platform, will ensure our positioning in the new mobilities. We have just started to acquire the necessary experience. We will continue to develop ourselves in coordination with the Groupe Renault organization to address the new mobility needs for our fleet customers of today and tomorrow. So in conclusion, RCI Group ambitions can be summarized as follows. First of all, we want to maintain the positive conversion momentum and the very strong integration with Alliance brands. From 2013 to 2016, the number of new vehicle finance versus total registrations has moved from 37% to 40%. We will continue to grow and to develop a group penetration rate above 42%. We will sell 1.4 services contracts per each Alliance registrations by the end of the plan. Our commercial development will be done always maintaining a conservative approach in terms of risk control, liquidity management, and cost efficiency. The regulatory capital ratio will be maintained above 14%, well above the existing requirement of 11%. And the group will maintain a high level of profitability with an estimated return on equity above 16%. So in conclusion, RCI is an efficient capital company. We have a resilient, virtuous business model, and we have just started our transformation to face the future challenges. So thank you for your attention, and I will leave now the floor to Madame Clotilde Delbos.
Good morning, everyone. Now it is the time for me to wrap up and to translate into financial targets all the presentation that have been given in this morning. I hope you are now convinced that our plan is all about sustainable, profitable growth. As Mr. Ghosn highlighted during his presentation, our target is to exceed 70 billion euros in revenues by the end of the plan, and more importantly, to achieve an operating margin in excess of 7%. This would mean an increase of the operating margin by more than 50% compared to 2016. Please note that our previous 5% operating margin target becomes the floor of this plan. These targets must be achieved while keeping a strict financial discipline and therefore ensuring a positive automotive operational free cash flow every year. Let's move on to some more financial details. You have here the walk down showing how we will move from our 6.4% operating margin achieved in 2016 to over 7% by the end of the plan. From left to right, once again, our first pillar for improvement will be cost control. In his presentation, Thierry Bolloré explained what we have done and what will be done going forward to improve further our cost structure and to achieve 4.2 billion euros of Monozukuri over the plan duration, in part thanks to the alliance. Then will come net enrichment. By nature, enrichment is a negative and will continue to be. Since regulation is getting more stringent all around the world, we know for sure that we will have more regulatory costs in the coming years. This has been taken into account in our plan. What is unknown is the ability of the industry as a whole to make these extra costs paid by the customer. But our plan is not only about cost management, there is also an ambition of profitable volume growth. Stefan Müller showed in all the potential that we have in the different regions of the world where markets will recover or continue to grow. Volume, that includes as well sales to partner, RCI Bank, and after sales, should be the second largest profitability driver, with growth coming mostly from outside of Europe. Russia, the Americas, or the Africa-Middle East region should be clear contributors. China increased profitability being accounted for at equity. After VAS, confirming from the beginning of the year that its recovery plan is well on track, should deliver the profitability targets already communicated in January. Break-even in 2018 at the latest, and reaching over 5% operating margin from 2021. Last item is the negative we are expecting from external inputs, such as raw material and forex, and our buffer to cover potential market risks. On the next slide, I would like to highlight the significant profit pool rebalancing that we expect between 2016 and 2022. We are showing this information for the first time, but we do not commit to show it on a regular basis. The circles represent the respective weight of each region in our total operating profit. As you can see, we have been very dependent on Europe profitability that is running at a high level since the last 2 years. At the same time, our international operations have been broadly in the trough. Consequently, in 2016, about 75% of our total group's operating profit came from Europe. We do expect to maintain a high level of profitability in Europe by historical standards, but we now should reap the fruits of our sustained foreign investment after having been through difficult times. America, Eurasia, and AMI region will see their profit growing by 3 to 5 times in average. Please note that the Asia-Pacific region is not growing in relative terms. It is because the bulk of our expected growth in the region should come from our Chinese JVs, which are not consolidated in the operating profit. Bottom line, international operation should represent over 50% of total profit by the end of the plan. On our investment policy, our ambition is to remain disciplined in that field, with a challenging target to keep the CapEx and R&D ratio at no more than 9% of revenue over the plan. Of course, as we want to stay flexible and depending on our needs, we may cross the 9% line 1 year if needed, but in average, we intend to stay below this limit. The alliance will be the necessary tool to share the investment effort to comply with future regulation or adjust ourselves to a more digitalized, connected world. Even more importantly, we plan to spend 18 billion euros in R&D over the 6 years. Thanks to the alliance support, we will be able to increase reasonably our R&D spending with no shortcut on the technology needed to capture growth opportunities. The following slide is giving some clarity on our liquidity policy and a strong message to our creditors that Groupe Renault intends to keep a highly secured financial profile. By the end of the plan, we expect to increase our net cash position to around 5 billion euros. The idea behind this amount is to maintain a position that will, in the case of a severe downturn, help us to stay afloat, or in other words, to avoid being net indebted again while being able to seize investment opportunities. The liquidity reserves should represent a minimum of 20% of group revenues, or roughly 2.5 months of business activity. We consider it to be a conservative policy in line with market practices for similar credit profiles. Finally, I want to share with you our proposed new dividend policy. As a reminder, the aim of the current dividend policy was to offer returns at least equivalent to the average of European car makers. We committed to this policy with a 3.15 euros dividend per share paid last June, offering a yield of about 4%. We gathered the voice of our investors on the lack of visibility of this policy, and we are proposing a new one for the next 6 years to come, aiming to a competitive shareholders' return. This policy will remain based on 2 components. First, 100% pass-through of dividends received from Nissan and Daimler. Second, a payout on Renault core net profit with a step-up approach to progressively increase it from 7% paid this year to about 15% at the end of the plan. Of course, this policy will have to be approved every year by the board and the shareholders. This ends my presentation, and I now hand over to Mr. Ghosn for his conclusion before moving to the break.
Thank you. I hope by now you have a clear picture about what we intend to accomplish for the next 6 years. Obviously, there are from one side the core objectives, and from the other side, all the plans, the methods that we are going to put in action in order to reach these objectives. So these objectives are 2. Cross the line of 70 billion euro of revenue by the end of the plan, and make sure also that by the end of the plan, we cross the line of 7% of operating margin. These are the 2 objectives. Now, when we talk about what does mean by the end of the plan, we're adopting exactly the same approach than we adopted in the past plan, which is Renault Drive the Change, which means that these 2 objectives, at the latest, should be reached, measured on a full year 2023, because this is the first year after the plan. But as a target, will be reached during the year 2022. That's what we mean by the end of the plan. That's exactly what has been delivered for Drive the Change, and this is exactly the same approach we will be adopting for Drive the Future. We wanted to explain to you everything we'll be doing, so we know exactly what we will be acting on. Obviously, we are obviously expecting everything to be executed. We are not expecting everything to fully deliver, because if everything we explained to you this morning fully deliver, you can understand that the objective would be much higher than that. So there has been in the plan, we have embedded opportunities, we have also embedded some risks. Some of the risks are obvious, or some of them are unseen, that what happened for the last 2 plans that we had. But we feel confident that we have enough action plans, enough leverage, and particularly enough specific leverage, specific to Renault, in order to deliver on these 2 objectives. So this is my conclusion. Obviously, I'm going to stop here and then give back the floor to Thierry Huon to explain the rest of the day.
Thank you, Mr. Ghosn. So I think now it's time for a break after this long presentation. I hope these presentations have fulfilled your expectations. So now we're going to move to this break where you're going to get coffee. And for the analysts, you should be back in this room in 15 minutes for the Q&A sessions. And for the journalists, they will go to another room for in the press room, I guess. So thank you for your attention, and we expect you to be back here in 15 minutes.